Salkins.
Salkind, the biggest crooks, you know.
Yeah.
But Ilya, I like Ilya. I love Ilya. But
You know what?
his dad was a crook.
Ilya's really cool, but I've heard towards the end, Ilya actually had to sue his father.
Right,
Did you know that?
Right.
You know?
His father threatened him. He said, if you don't work for me, I will ruin you. You have to work for me.
And the father, this is kind of, you're a producer and director, Alex, so you'll dig this. The Salkins, they actually have a clause in the Screen Actors Guild legalese called the Salkin clause.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
No, you didn't know. Okay, that's a great story because it involves your movie as well. So the Salkins would grab Michael York and they would grab all these big stars, Faye Dunaway.
I didn't know that.
And you wouldn't know you were making 2 movies.
Oh.
They would give you a 200-page script and say, oh, it'll be an epic. And instead, they were planning on cutting it in half, just like Superman.
Superman, yeah.
And that's what they did with Superman.
And when they fired Donner,
Donner,
after you look at this, the Donner cut of Superman 2, and it is so much better than the movie they released. It is 100 times better.
And now the theatrical release of Superman 1 on Blu-ray is 3 hours. And it's got all this extra footage of Donner's stuff. And it's funny, I worked with Donner all the time except for the last day they brought in Richard Lester.
For the last day of Superman the movie?
For me, the last day was they were trying to tighten up the train with me. So I was on a soundstage going back and forth with the
You said you tore up your legs, right?
Right. And I tore up my thighs and all this stuff. And Lester barely worked with me because Donner was my director.
Right.
And he was everybody's director. Everybody loved Donner. And it was his film.
It's the greatest superhero movie ever made because everyone has stolen the framework and everything else.
I mean, Patty Jenkins for Wonder Woman.
Right.
She took the framework completely. Right. Yeah. And Sam Raimi told me the shot of Tobey Maguire ripping open his shirt and running at the camera. And Spider-Man. Thank you, Alex. Yeah. That was his homage. He said a visual homage to Superman in the movie when Clark Kent first changes.
Right.
And
there's a sequence with Henry Cavill in the Justice League film where they have him standing in a wheat field just like I did.
Oh, you saw the movie?
Well, I saw the clip. AMC's been showing on YouTube.
Oh.
And it's me standing in the field. And they said there's an homage to Superman. And it's when the mom comes out, I think or Lois Lane comes out to talk to him. It's Lois Lane that comes out to talk to him in the field. And he's wearing the same outfit I wore. Exactly.
Yeah, by the way, Smallville did that as well.
Yep.
They took your entire sequence of Superman the movie, right down how, and this is one of the cool things about Superman the movie. You got to look at the picture. Hold on.
And you're wearing a backpack, right?
Yeah. Superman the movie, one of the brilliant things they did, Donner had Jeff East do, is he's wearing Superman's primary colors of red and blue.
Okay.
But he's reversing them, where he's wearing the red shirt and the blue backpack.
Yep.
And when you look at...
That was intentional.
Yeah, because
now it just hit me, man.
Yeah, it was intentional.
Even as a kid, tell me about working with Glenn Ford on that.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Let me get back to that uniform thing. They asked me to do the role because Donner had seen a movie I did called The Hazing, and he
with the Scott
Charlie Martin Smith,
right, and Gregory Harrison,
Jim Bolson,
and the now dead son of Paul Newman.
That was a college the college.
Yes.
Well, you guys are eating worms, and then one guy chokes to death.
No, This is what Charlie Martin Smith falls off a cliff and breaks his leg, and we're in jock straps. They have us run in the mountains with just a jock strap on. That's the hazing. So I go back for help, and we come back, and he's dead, and they blame it on me.
That used to run in the CBS Late movie.
It was Campus Corpse is what they called it, but the hazing and the release theatrically. Anyway, he saw that movie, and then he brought me in for the interview for Superman. And I thought I was going to play Jimmy Olsen. I thought, well, what do you want me to do? And he goes, we want you to be young Superman. Wow. I go, hold on. I'm not wearing a cape. I ain't wearing a fucking cape. He said, oh, no, you don't have to wear a cape. No, there won't be any weird outfits. So what they did was this.
It's so smart.
Wow. And it's smart. It's real clever what they did. And Donner it's all Donner.
But the scenes of you, and by the way, people don't know this. You're wearing a rubber nose in this.
Rubber nose to make you look more like Chris. And it's blue because we were out on the set and they had the wrong light to color my nose.
The cane went blue.
So it looks like Glenn Ford hit me in the nose.
Wow.
So you're doing a wig and a nose.
Yeah, 3 hours every day
to make you more like
Christopher Reeve.
And
how about that? I'm looking at this.
He wanted to play the role.
I thought that was kind of a dick move. Reeve,
dick move.
He
wanted to play his younger self.
Reva overdubbed your voice.
Right. And there was no reason to do it.
Diane Sherry Case told me your voice was perfect.
Yeah.
And everyone liked it.
Well, in the new footage, they've got my voice. Wow. So it's just silly. But Chris was adamant about, and I played chess with him every day. You got to get to know me, Jeff. You got to get to know me. I'm like, I don't want to get to know you. I want to beat your ass.
No, I heard Art Imitated Life. You actually dated Diane Sherry Case's
yes. And you know, I was single at the time, and I thought she was too, because I don't date other people's girlfriends or wives. It's not my style.
Until that time.
Welcome to Hollywood. Welcome to Hollywood, Kansas.
Well, no, I met her and I started working with her, and we started dating, and I was having a great time with her.
She's beautiful.
I really dug her.
And she's in saddle shoes, for God's sake.
Yeah, and she's got that red hair. And
a redhead with freckles and saddle shoes.
Ginger me. Wow. And then, like, one day I get this weird thing. The assistant director comes up to me, goes, Jeff, he goes, you call 5 o'clock call tomorrow, but we're going to make you sleep in our room until you get up. I said, I don't want to sleep in your room. He goes, you need to sleep in our room. And I said, why? He goes, Diane's boyfriend's here, and he's going to beat the shit out of you.
Did you say, where's your room?
I was like, where the hell's your room? Wow. I'm like, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Her boyfriend. And he was a jealous boyfriend. He comes flying up to Calgary, Alberta, where we were shooting.
He flew up to beat up young Superman.
Yeah, and so the whole time they hid me out. And then they get out on the set, and there was like this hush, hush, hush. And Donner's like, he's looking around, making sure there's nothing weird happening. They had extra security.
On the bright side, he'll break your rubber nose before you real one.
How weird is that? So we never talked again because of that. It was like weird.
Oh, you guys broke up.
Then I see her in Kansas City last week.
She's still stunning. I got to be honest with you.
She's still a doll. And we talked. We laughed about it. I said, "Why did you do that?" She goes, "I was on drugs." Oh man. Lame excuse, man.
I love you. You know what? I love you, Diane Sherry Case.
I love you too, baby.
And when you see her with the red hair and the cheerleader outfit and the saddle shoes, for God's sake.
Oh, and that cheerleader outfit came in handy.
You are my favorite guest, bar none. No offense.
Sorry, Diane.
Hey. I'm trying to remember cheerleader story in my head. I'll come back to it.
She told me for years after that, whenever she went out with someone, their first question is, do you have that cheerleader outfit? She told me that for years afterwards.
Wow.
They would say that to her.
Oh, that's funny.
No, I talked to her about this, but I want to know how you felt. Smallville, the series, especially the earliest seasons, they completely take the way you and Donner had the outfit and everything else. And
why not? It's classic. Why not use it in a TV series? I thought Smallville was a really good idea, and it was a good show.
And they had McClure, they had Margot.
Chris in a wheelchair.
Chris in a wheelchair?
And they never asked me once. Wow. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I knew the producer, and it's just...
Was it Greg Beeman?
Miller, I think, was his last name.
Oh, yeah, Miller. Yeah. But besides Miller, one of the guys. Dan knew one of the directors, and I thought, why didn't he put her in? It would have been a no-brainer.
And they won't have me do Supergirl either. Sarah Douglas is doing Supergirl this week.
Yay! What's she playing? Do you know?
Margot did Supergirl, and Mark McClure did Supergirl, and all these people are doing it. And Mark does everything. He's doing Justice League. He plays a cop in Justice League. Yeah, Mark's a good buddy of mine.
Friggin' Justice League?
Yeah.
No, is he still an LA guy?
Yeah. Oh, no, he lives in Palm Springs, and his wife, Carol, and the dog, Fifi. And, you know, they've got a daughter, and we have a band. We've had a band for years called the Daily Planet, but they wouldn't let us use that name. It's called the Switch Band, and we've had it for years. And now I'm going back to San Diego on Thursday to record 3 songs with these guys.
Can you call it Daily Plan, PLAN-IT?
Nope. They will not let us use anything that's close to anything. The DC Comics won't let you do it.
Ah, they'll sue your ass.
They'll sue my ass. And they told us that. And Columbia Records had a deal with us, and they said, you've got to change it to the Planet. You can't call it the Daily Planet.
Didn't you guys do California Dreamin' or something?
No, Mark did.
Okay, yeah, where you're playing singers?
Yeah,
no?
That was with Jimmy McNichol and Lorenzo Lamas.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty trippy.
I wish it was you and Mark. That would have been better.
Now, Mark and I did a cartoon show called Meatballs and Spaghetti.
By the way, one of the first cartoons by Marvel at DePatie Freely in the early 80s.
Steve DePatie was our producer.
Do you know who one of the writers on it was?
No.
I believe I'm right because he was at Marvel at the time. It's the guy who created 2.5 Men and Big Bang Theory.
Chuck Lorre? Chuck Lorre?
Chuck Lorre was at Marvel Productions at the time.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I believe he wrote a couple. And not only that, when you did Pumpkinhead, it's speaking of the Big Bang Theory. It was the film debut of Mayim Bialik.
That's right, and she was wonderful to work with.
Okay, nice
At that age, she was great, and
Wow.
I could tell she was going to go somewhere. She's just super intelligent.
Because you were a child actor too.
Oh yeah. I started at 14,
Wow.
and I did Tom Sawyer, and they cast me as Huck. But I had a band at that time. I was on stage. I was used to being in front of people, so it was a natural thing for me to go into, and I just got lucky. I got lucky.
Do you play? What's your favorite instrument? What's your best?
I play a little piano. I strum the guitar. I'm not a guitar player.
So you're what, a singer?
I'm a singer, yeah.
All right.
And I stand up and do the thing and dance around, and they find me songs that aren't that difficult. I remember I was working with the Sherman Brothers, and they said, Jeff,
oh my God,
yeah, you don't need to.
Mary Poppins.
Right. Well, they did Tom Sawyer and they're saying when I'm working with John Williams, you don't need to stretch out. You're not an opera singer. Sinatra cut his notes. He cut, but it's emotion. Just bring the emotion to it. Bring the line.
Williams told you that.
Yeah, John Williams and Richard and Robert Sherman worked with me for weeks while we recorded all the songs, and I got used to it. And then we started working with Man's Gotta Be What He's Born to Be with Warren Oates and Johnny and I.
I can't believe you sang with friggin' Warren Oates.
Warren Oates. What a great guy.
Was he drunk?
Was
he playing a drunk in the movie?
Yeah,
it was, wow.
Oh man. And he had his 2 boys with him, and he drove his Winnebago down there from Montana.
Wow.
And this guy was such a gas to work with. He was farting and burping, getting fucked up.
That's Noah in our set.
How come
That's Noah right there.
How come you never did a duet with David Hasselhoff?
Oh man, I love David Hasselhoff. He's huge in Germany.
Right.
I live in
So was Hitler.
Yeah, I know. No longer.
I just pictured you and Hasselhoff on stage doing
man,
a routine.
I'd like to meet with him. I like Johnny Holiday, who's a big French singer, just loud and boisterous and stupid. And, Hasselhoff cracks me up, man. I think it's great what he's doing.
No, I have to ask you, and one of the things they were trying to do with Justice League is make the Superman more in line with yours.
Correct.
Because, there was a big moment in all the Donner Superman movies where Superman would turn around the people. And then when you saw Man of Steel, most of the people being killed are by people Superman is throwing into buildings.
Right.
And he never mentions the people once.
And it's funny. I like that movie, but it's not Superman. It's so dark and
Paul Kent's
weird.
an a-hole.
Oh, totally.
And then you have a dog in yours, and Superman had the one dog. Well, how many dogs do you know are the last thing to get out of a car? Right.
Well, my opinion, like you said, I think that's a great movie. Most people don't like that movie, Man of Steel.
I liked it.
Yeah, I loved it.
I love Zack Snyder, but I thought it was too dark.
It was pretty dark.
I think that's why I enjoyed it. It was dark. I think Marvel's getting too much into comedy now. I just saw Thor. It was just slapstick.
By the way, Thor just crossed 500 million, Mr. Producer. Make a note of it.
I know, I'm writing it down. But it was just like slapstick. But
it was really funny.
It was some parts, yes.
Well, what was the one that came out with? Oh my God! It was a hilarious film.
Ant-Man.
Yeah,
Ant-Man was great.
Guardians of the Galaxy also
But
coming.
Man of Steel, I think Zack Snyder, every movie that he does is like 20 to 30 minutes too long. That last,
it was too long.
Yeah, that last fight with the General Tsar in New York City.
Those guys, collateral damage,
I know.
man. How are you going to replace that? You did more than a nuclear bomb, man.
I know.
You go to North Korea and show that movie, and they're going to go, hey, don't screw around with America.
But, Jeff, I was in Korea when I saw your movie, the first Superman. I did not know how to speak English. They had a subtitle, but you're, 7 or 8? The subtitle goes really fast. But all I remember was I was like, the deer in the headlight, just watching it going, oh, my God, he's running. Yeah. Like, he's beating the train. Oh, my God, he's flying. Yeah. All I remember is that when we came home with my brother, I got 2 brothers. We came home. We all want to be Superman. And we're getting.
And you are sitting here with Superman.
I know.
Funny, but it's funny you'd say that because they interviewed Shaquille O'Neal on the Oprah show, and they have this image of his arm with the Superman emblem, and they said, "Why do you have this iconic? Because his basketball court at home is the Superman emblem." He says, "When I was a kid, the first movie my mom let me go see was Superman." Wow. And they show the scene of me outrunning the train.
Wow.
Says, I remember that guy, and you looked out the window, and he's outrunning that train. And I said, I want to be him.
Wow.
And exactly what you did.
I mean,
it's great to be a part of that, man.
That was just such an iconic leap.
Yeah.
When you leaped across and we all have dreams in our dreams about having
the
that
sheer
power
joy.
Don't do it at home.
doing that super.
But
It's a dangerous stunt for one thing, and it took us 2 weeks to do that.
Don't play with trains, boys and girls.
Do not do it. It ain't cool. I was on wires, and while they do that is they do it backwards. You go on the other side of the track, and the crane lifts me, and I jump backwards, and the train goes backwards. Then when they run the film, it's like whoop, so it goes forward.
It's more fluid motion.
It's the reverse. It's the reverse of what you would think.
I love that woo when you jump across it, though. You know
that shot actually with the effect of me jumping over, and they have that shot there. They actually had me do that, and I swing out of frame, and it goes right into the train. And while we did that shot, they only did it one time. It's really dangerous because the train's going 45 miles an hour.
And you shot that in Canada?
In Calgary, Alberta, yeah.
Wow.
And Richard Hackman, Gene's brother, was our stunt coordinator, and he was also my double.
Is he the guy?
Know he had a brother.
Is he the guy? Oh, wow.
He was a great guy. He saved my life because they went around with the crane. We go around the road, and I'm swinging out of frame, but the train's coming at us. And I swing right towards the train, and he's there to catch. He caught me.
Wow.
Or I would have been a dead donkey.
Wow.
Thank you, Richard.
You could have derailed the train, too.
Could have derailed it. Well, yeah.
Somebody slipping there. Anybody slip kryptonite in your salad on craft services?
Diane tried to do that.
I think my favorite moment is when you're standing there at the end. You're walking to the North Pole, and you grab that
the crystal,
and you have that shot. I think it goes to close up of your face.
Right here, this is the shot.
Wham! Yeah. Wham! And it just flies for. When it was edited, I think it was flying for 40 seconds or a minute.
Yeah.
Then next somebody drops it on the thing. But
cool, huh?
It was cool.
We shot that on the Pinewoods 007 soundstage in
London.
Wow.
Isn't that the biggest soundstage ever?
Yeah. And it's huge. And it's a real Arctic scene.
Wow.
It's not CGI. There's no green screen.
Do you have an animatronic polar bear?
The bears.
I love the polar bears.
And I'm walking, and you actually, in the new footage, you see, I actually almost fall into the water in one shot.
Really?
On an iceberg. I'm like, oh, shit, my God. And I get up there, and then Donner's always behind the camera talking to me through the whole movie.
Really?
Oh, yeah, talking me through it. He goes, okay, kid, look over this way. Look intense, kid, look intense. And then, okay, take that crystal, pull it out, and look at it. Just stare at it. And then wonder and think about it. And he's talking me through the whole thing. He goes, okay, now throw it. And I throw it, and it's on a string. And it goes out of frame like that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just a lit, crystal thing.
But you can pull it back because it's attached to your head.
Right. So they battery powered. They put a
there's a light. There's a light in it. It would light up. Yeah,
yeah.
But that was back then, man, because everything was.
It was real. It was a real effect. No CGI.
Wow, no CGI whatsoever.
No, and all the flying stuff. It took forever. It took months to get the proper Lois and Clark on the strings, on the wires, all the villains on the wires. I mean, they were experimenting with new stuff they'd never even tried, and it worked. After a while, they had to practice everything in order to get it to work. The train stuff, we practiced for 2 weeks to figure out how to keep me from swinging. Then they had to go out there and had to paint the wires. They literally painted the wires to match the sky.
Oh, that's right.
They're painting blue sky wire.
More CG. That's why with the green screen and the blue screen, that's why there's shots where Superman's outfit is green in the movie.
Correct.
He couldn't be blue on blue.
They were having a problem too with his armpits.
The sweat.
Because they were sweating.
You can't have Superman sweating anything, man. It's like, oh, there's Lois. I'm nervous. Seriously, I had a problem with that. And so they had this little guy with a fan.
Wow.
And a towel would walk around and follow Superman around.
They would do that. Yvonne Craig told me.
I got to ask you, Alex, you're in Korea when this was released.
Right.
What was the crowd like?
What was the title? And what was the title in Korean?
It was Superman.
I assume you saw this in South Korea, not North.
It must have thousands of kids on opening night.
Alex, we need to know, were you in South Korea or North Korea?
Oh my God.
I immigrated from North to South. No. But there was a 2 movie that was huge. 3. I mean, I think that's the 3 movie that I really saw in Korea, the movie theater wise. It was Star Wars, Jaws, and Superman. Wow. And the lines they don't have multi theaters like here now or then. It's changed, but it was one theater, one city that was playing. Wow. Seoul, which is capital of Korea. And I remember going to sing any movie that comes out, we have to beg our mom. It's Superman. We gotta go see it. She's like, it's a cartoon. No, it's Superman.
It's American imperialism.
You'll believe a man can fly.
Right. So we got there. We couldn't find the end of the line. So
that's how long it was.
It was how long it was.
Oh my God.
I mean. So we have to come back different day. I really remember that. So come back and watch that. But no, I mean, it was so big.
Were you 7? About 7?
I think we have 7 or 8. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're only like about 18 right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. No,
I'm funny because Star Wars was the same way.
Right.
And it came out a year before. And the entire crew that worked on Superman worked on Star Wars.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, they're the best crew in the world. They're so good.
We were lucky with the Star Wars because when we got there, just like Superman, we couldn't find the end. And it's been playing for a month.
Yeah, I stood in line to watch Star Wars.
And
I remember that.
my mom looked at us, me and my brothers, and goes, okay, we're going home. And she saw her friend right in front of the ticket line.
Oh, my.
And
Did you cut in line?
No, I didn't cut line.
Douchebag.
Alex, how much were the tickets then?
Oh, shit. I don't remember in Korean currency. Probably $1 or $2. I'm not sure.
I think they're like $10.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Superman actually charged. This is another thing Papa Salkin did.
They upgraded it.
It was 50 cents more for Superman the movie.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So
that was the beginning of raising ticket prices. Was that movie?
You would see Star Wars for $1.50 as a kid, but you'd have to pay $2 for Superman.
Correct.
Right. Oh, wow.
It's a lot of money back then.
It was so groundbreaking because there hadn't been a Superman since George Reeves.
Right.
And to have that in a motion picture in color.
And you know, it's funny. They used Noel Neal in the train sequence.
With Kirk Allen.
With Kirk Allen, the original
Kirk
Superman.
Allen, oh my God, from those 40 serials.
Yeah, from 48 on the radio. And the little girl is supposed to be the baby Lois Lane, the little Lois Lane.
Right.
Mommy, the boy's outrunning the train. And that's supposed to be Lois Lane. And it's real Lois Lane plays her mother, Noel Neal. And it was a trip. They had a lot of publicity stuff about that. It was neat. And she was a wonderful lady. Just wonderful to work with.
The cat burglar, coming at the windows. Yeah, he's in Batman the movie by Tim Burton.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He's in the same actor as in Batman the movie.
Huh.
And what was interesting is when you watch Superman, because it played it straight. I mean, the stuff with you and your father, Glenn Ford, is played so straight. How long did it take you guys to build that camaraderie? It's so charming in the movie, you know?
Just to be honest with you, they drove Glenn Ford out to the set, and in the limousine, he came into makeup. He did talk to Donner for about 10, 15 minutes. He introduced himself to me, and I was like, wow, it's Glenn Ford. It was pretty weird. And then we talked, and Dick goes, you want to rehearse it? And he shook his head and said,
Oh, shit.
well, let's just shoot it. And we did it in one take.
Wow.
Yep.
So you never saw you have
Never
such
even
a
rehearsed it.
You have such a warm camaraderie with this guy.
Well, that's what works. That's Donner. He knows that the actor's capable of walking and talking and chewing gum. Don't rehearse them. Yeah. Make it fresh. Just do it. And they shot the master in one take. Then they do the close up, which was a two shot. And it worked. And it worked just in the one take. Why shoot more? If you shoot more, it gets stale. It's like, and he's so good to work with, man. He just make you look good. He made me feel. I was there.
I mean, that scene where he dies. I mean, he's clutching his arm and
By the
he's
way-
going down, and you're calling his name.
Yeah.
You get emotional.
Right.
Still, these days, when I watch that movie, I get emotional.
Well, I'm so sad because Jeff is playing with this dog.
Yeah.
And then turns around to see his father. Right. But was the dog was always there? Was that a set dog? Or?
It was a set dog.
Wow.
Yeah, local set dog. It wasn't a pro from Hollywood like they usually use.
Because the scene was you playing with the dog and then you realize your father's dying. It's so sad.
Well, yeah, and it, you know, you can't tell an actor how to do that. You just got to go up there and do it. Yeah. And, you know, it's just your dad's dying. Your dad's falling on the ground. He's really my dad. He's really up there.
Wow.
And it really wasn't that difficult to do that. Even with the sequence with my mom when I say goodbye, I had done that the year before, saying goodbye to my own mother.
As you went to Hollywood.
Out to California. And look in the back of my rear, and she's standing there in the garage.
That must have tore your heart out.
Yeah, so I knew how to bring that emotion to the character. It was just automatic. And Phyllis Thaxter was wonderful. She was an old stage and old contract player.
She was Ilya Salkin's mother, right? Mother-in-law. Wow. Is she still with us, by the way?
No, she's passed on.
Wow.
But she was wonderful. She worked with Gary Cooper. She worked with all the greats.
Okay, just a quick reminder, Jeff, radio voice, phone number.
Oh yes! I forgot.
Hey, Jeff East, Alex Wong, no.
You could call the Jeff Sargent Show and ask questions. You could talk to Jeff East right here.
Jeff East or Alex Wong, the handsome Alex Wong, the charming Noel.
You could talk to Alex. You could talk to Noel.
Say something, Noel, to show you're still here.
Yeah, I'm still alive.
Your children demanded proof of life before they give up the money.
Don't think about your boss right now, okay? He's going to be okay.
You're on the radio.
You're on the radio.
You're the boss.
You're doing him a favor,
looking sharp
Noel.
doing that time.
You know what?
You're doing him a favor.
I was doing fine until you brought him up.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, look at this. Look at this. Right here on live. If those streaming live on Facebook. 909 360 8330.
8330.
That's 909-360-8330. Call the Jeff Sargent Show and talk to these people.
Dan, the man Rups are standing by.
Yeah, and I take the texts as well, and then I just forward them on. I got a text from Texas, one of our listeners there. They wanted to know because you guys are all into superheroes and stuff.
We got a call from Texas. Okay.
Really not. No, it was a text right up here.
A text from Texas.
Did Ben Affleck's ruin the Daredevil franchise?
You know what? If you've seen, again, I'm more of a Marvel guy, but I love Superman the movie.
Right.
And I like Daredevil a lot. I think the people who beat up the movie, they're just being haters. There's a lot to like in it.
As an actor, I like Ben Affleck. I don't know him, but I like him. Even in bad movies, he admits he's bad in them, and they're actually bad scripts. but when he's good, man, the guy's good.
His burned out Batman, and I know everyone hates Superman versus Batman, but his burned out Batman with the 5 o'clock shadow and the anger. I love that performance. It's a great performance.
I love the DC universe as well as the Marvel. I
agree.
I'm right there on the fence. I'm not going to choose sides.
Well, you know, did you know that the guys that do the Marvel stuff work for Dick Donner?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brian Singer, who did X-Men.
And then the other, Josh and 2 or 3 other guys that work at Marvel, all work for Dick Donner as assistants. And
this is true.
They learned, and their favorite film was Superman the movie. And they use that in their office. They got a poster of it. And why not use an iconic film? And Donner was genius. And they learned from Donner. You learn from a good guy like that.
I think they sometimes, steal is not the word, but maybe they honor him by using the same shots from the movie.
They
see a lot of those.
They admit that. And it's cool.
Stan Lee, I interviewed Stan Lee the first time in college before the big Spider-Man, X-Men, and everything boom. And he said, you were filming yourself. Yeah. You filmed yourself staring at me.
It's my show. I can do that. Just keep talking.
Anything you say, egomaniac. And so Stan Lee told me, when he saw Superman the movie, he goes, the Superman books were never that clever or funny. He goes, when we make the Spider-Man movie, they're going to say we're ripping off Superman the movie. But it's true. Donner hipped up the material. He made... Superman the movie played it absolutely straight, you know. And your sequence, the Jor-El sequence, I even love the opening cap where you hear the little girl. I think it's a little girl's voice of the comic book opening up.
Right, opening scene.
Yes. Yeah. and making it a little girl's voice. And to me, it had this inclusivity. And when you see the world's biggest actor at that time, Marlon Brando, his first words are, "This is no fantasy." I mean, it just knocks you on your ass.
Let me see if I could do Marlon Brando. This is no fantasy.
No careless byproduct.
My son, now go.
Wow.
I'm out of practice.
Yeah,
I'm out of
that's
practice.
pretty good, Alex. Yeah, all right, Alex.
Korean crime lord Alex Wong.
You know, Brando wanted to play the role as a bagel. And they said, you know, why can't I just play a bagel? And I don't have to come to work. You can just shoot a bagel. And one day they all went out to lunch. It was Salkind, Donner, Mankiewicz, and they're all sitting around. And Brando says, "How much does it cost to do this movie that we're doing?" And they said, "Oh, it's about $100,000 a day." And he goes, "If I paid you that, could I just stay home in my hotel room?" And he was serious.
No.
He was getting $4 million for 11 days.
Was he 11 days? I think it was shorter, but
Well, yeah, 12.
And at the time, that was a big money. You know, at the time,
And
that
now
was
it's
a
big money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, now what do they pay Brad Pitt and those guys? Like $20 million.
Yeah.
Phone call from a founder.
Oh, we got a phone call. Okay.
Bring him on.
Oh.
Are you there, caller? Come into the line.
Phone call. Okay.
Oh, my
we go,
chimpanzee
there we go.
will open it up.
Okay. Talk to us.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh.
Hello.
Yes, I had a question for the Mr. Jeff East.
Okay, who are you?
Yeah, what's your name, son?
My name is Levon. from
Levon,
Inglewood.
welcome to the Jeff Sargent Show.
Wow.
Go ahead and ask Jeff.
Texas and
Hey,
Inglewood.
LeVon, how you doing, buddy?
Yes, Mr. East, when you ran against the train, what type of shoes were you wearing?
Converse.
Wow.
Okay, hey. Now I'm messing with you. It's Steve Joyner. How you doing, guys?
Hey, LeVon
From Inglewood. That's funny.
Wow, I was so excited when you called me. Listener in Inglewood.
No, I'm watching the interview. It's going really good. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Hey, Steve.
All right.
You
buddy.
met Jeff
that's
East
my
tomorrow?
agent, man.
Yeah, wow.
All right, Steve Joyner.
Steve Joyner, woo!
You
Come down
got
and join
me.
us.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch, you got me.
you had him hook, line, and
I kept
sinker.
thinking, I was so proud when you had a listener in Inglewood.
Hey, are you getting that contract with Converse ready for me? I need my
Yeah,
royalties,
they've
baby.
kind of had a downsize in sales since the 70s, so we're going to try to go for
boo.
No, but I wanted to ask. You know what though? I do have a grievance. Jeff and I were talking about this last night. They made him fly. You know what, Jeff? The Delta Airlines. We need to sign a. We need to have a grievance against them. You know about that?
Yeah, they flew me economy, and Jack O'Halloran flew first class. I was like, hey, wait
Yeah. What
a
is
minute.
that all about?
I'm not going to
That
put
guy doesn't even speak. He mumbles.
You better. Yeah, but you've seen Jack O'Halloran. You're not going to put that guy in coach.
I'm always very gracious to Jack.
his 2 legs, you know?
Remember, Jack, one of the great stories, and he confirmed it when I interviewed him. But Jack, you guys were all getting screwed.
Yes.
Your checks weren't arriving from the Salkins.
They bounced.
Oh.
Yeah. My check for my first week of work, it was paid a month late, and it bounced. Wow. And we're in London with no money. Oh, shit. Right? And we're
Not even a per diem, right?
We
Not
had no
even
per diem, nothing.
Wow.
So I'm going to the Bank of London going, hey, the guy, I need some money. You got to use this check. I'm working for Warner Brothers. I didn't even know it was Warner Brothers. It's the soul kind. The checks bounced. What happened was they were floating the money. Wow. It was based out of a European bank. And so all this money was going through the system, and they just, off the interest, were trying to make the movie. Not that they didn't have the money coming in, but they didn't have it quite at the time we were shooting. And it was a big scam. And finally, Jack O'Halloran, he got mad. And Jack is a big guy, and he's from the the mob family.
Right.
He's an Anastasia.
Yeah, no, he's directly related to Albert Anastasia, the Angel of Death.
Mafia. And Jack was just a big boxer, big guy. You don't want to screw with him anyway. But he didn't even have to do anything. You would not shoot in New York City if that paycheck didn't come through. And he told Pierre Spangler, he picked him up by his tire. It wasn't Ilya, it was Pierre.
Yeah.
And grabbed him and put him up in the air. And he says, you better make sure my check goes through today.
And he goes, right away, sir.
Or you're going to have some trouble with the Teamsters in New York.
And
So I had a question. I'm gonna be seeing Jeff in the day after tomorrow, but this is actually a legitimate question. Jeff East, if you had to, I know it's a really, really tough question. Who was probably one of the greatest actors you enjoyed working with the most?
Oh boy, that would be Chuck the Wonder Dog in Up the Creek. No.
Okay.
Rod Steiger.
Wow.
Rod Steiger.
I liked working with Rod.
What'd you
And
like
Lance Henriksen. Lance Henriksen was a really cool cat to work
on
with.
Pumpkinhead?
Loved working with him.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched that last night. I think Pumpkinhead is just, it's just such a damn good movie, and I don't know how did it do in the box office?
Not very well.
Terrible.
When it hit
And I never knew that story about the early release.
Vengeance the Demon, it played in about 12 cities, ours being one of them. It played in about 12 cities under the title Vengeance the Demon.
And we did no PR for that. We did no tour on it. They buried the movie, but man, I got the biggest residual check. I was like,
You said it's still to this day your kid's favorite movie of yours, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My kid was out there when they were shooting
Wasn't there a shot where you could see the monster wearing shoes? It was the first one or second? I think it was
the second
that
one.
was actually Pat.
That was Pat's shoes.
I'm taller than Woodruff. I am
Pat and Jeff Sargent asked an interesting question on Friday to Carl Gottlieb, Jeff East.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, you guys might want to, well, I'll ask him, do you ever worry, to ask Carl, do you ever worry with CGI and all that's happened, do you ever worry about any of your old films being remade and them just totally screwing it up?
I've been told that could happen. It's weird because actually I think it takes away from the film. I don't think it feels real. It's CGI just bores me.
Yeah. I love physical effects. You use them in your horror films, Alex.
As much as I can. We're in post for a movie called Cold Blooded. It's reptilian movie, ancient alien kind of thing. That one we had to go to CGI. We couldn't find a person who's like 8, 9, 10 feet tall.
Right.
And there were
thanks,
a lot
asshole.
Yeah, you gotta
How
use
many
it.
barbecues have we been to?
Yeah, but that was before I knew you.
You gotta use it to help you
Right.
with the film.
So
and
I
it's
got my
budget.
damn life cast.
But on Lilith, our current horror anthology that we just finished shooting over the weekend.
Congratulations.
Oh my! Yeah, I've been up 5:30 in the morning last 3 days.
This is what a great actor.
That girl, you
is
had
how
a real
good-
girl hanging from her noose, right?
Right. We
This is
use
what a
all
great actor Noel
practical.
is. He plays Lilith.
Yes, yes. On that one, it's all practical. There's no CGI. It was amazing. The chronic effects run by Rod, he did amazing work. I mean, there was a shot, we were just reviewing it. Just blood is everywhere. The whole wall, the ceiling, the guy laying on. He was getting drowned. There was so much blood.
Oh, wow.
Anthony Worley. Yeah.
Have any of you guys done a movie and it just never went out? It's sitting on the shelf somewhere.
Yeah, I got one.
Which one?
Blue Champagne. Jack Nicholson produced it.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, wow. And it's a crazy story.
Yeah, tell us.
I
We
was
got
getting a
time.
divorce.
Well, I'm gonna jet off. I just want to say hi to you guys, and Jeff, you're killing it. Jeff Sargent, Dan, Pat, everybody, you're doing good.
Thank you,
that's
buddy.
great.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
See you
Thank you,
Thursday.
Steve.
All right,
you.
keep calling in, callers. That strangers. We want people that we don't know. Call in.
Hey, you guys, you know what? You guys ought to cold call Aaron. You know.
We are. Well, you know what? We got Jeff today, and we got Jeff, Nolan, and Alex. So we're gonna make the most of them.
No, but what happened was I was getting a divorce. And,
All right, later.
Bye,
Bye.
Steve. Thank you.
Bye, Steve.
Jack said, "Well, don't worry about it. It's just a relationship. You'll get over it." So I said, "Well, what do you think about us doing a little film? And we'll present you the script. I'll give it to you within a week." And Blaine Novak, the writer, wrote it in 72 hours. It was called Blue Champagne, and it's about two guys getting a divorce at the same time, and they're best friends. And it really is truly the story of how women want to kill men. And truly. And
Was it cathartic for you?
yeah,
since you were going
very
to?
cathartic. I mean, we were drunk and writing.
Don't encourage him. There's women that want to kill me right now. I'm
Right.
getting text right now.
They truly want us dead. So what we did is we hired Jonathan Silverman to play my best friend. We have Rebecca Broussard, which is Jack's current girlfriend at that time, and she was pregnant too, but
She was
only
his,
2 months pregnant.
She was his daughter's college
Right, and
roommate.
Jennifer's in the movie too, his daughter.
Wow.
She plays the illicit lover that comes to visit the guy to cheer him up. And we shot in Jack's house in Santa Monica. He owns a home there. And it was 2 weeks shooting, 14 days, and about $400,000 budget. We get it done. We go into post. We do the editing for a year, and the director has a big fight with him over the edit. And he shows it to Lou Adler, and they show it to Miramax, and Miramax says, "We'll buy it. We want to buy it. We want to buy it." And Jack says, "Nope.
Wow.
I'm gonna bury it."
Wow.
Wow.
So he made me deliver. I was a associate producer on it. He made me deliver the box of film to his business manager's office, and they locked it in a vault.
Wow.
So nobody has seen it to this day.
Nobody. Well, people have seen it in the business.
It will come out when he
Harvey
passes.
Weinstein saw it.
Yeah.
He's probably
Look
going
what
to take
happened
it.
to him.
He's taking it to therapy. With
What
him.
else did he see?
Well, let me tell you, who else? Who directed? Who is this?
Blaine Novak directed it. He wrote "They All Laughed" and was the star of that with John Ritter, the Peter Bogdanovich.
Right, with Dorothy Stratton.
Correct.
Wow.
And that was before Dorothy died. He found her at the Playboy Mansion and introduced her to Peter Bogdanovich. But Blaine is a really, really good writer, and he just wrote a great script. I just got it, called Boiling Heights, which is it's a fictional account of what's going on with the immigration crisis here in Los Angeles and the subway system that was built back in the 50s.
Right.
And has never, ever been destroyed. It's still there.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind
Under the hospital.
Yep.
And literally under the hospital is it Boyle Heights?
there's a secret way to get in there.
Correct.
I saw on the internet and people actually went in there, but it's hard to tell exactly where it is. But
it's a script about a guy who's a retired Fed ICE agent, and he gets up a relationship with this girl whose brother's been kidnapped by the Mexican mafia. And the whole thing, it's a really good script, and I'm hoping we get that thing going. Called Boiling Heights, and he's a terrific writer. But that's my Jack Nicholson story. I mean, that's all I have to say about
Did
Jack.
they ever make peace? Did
No.
Blaine and
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. And not with me either. He likes me, but he's like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to bury it and use it as a tax write-off.
Oh, man.
Wow.
That film will be discovered after the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Phone call, ladies and gentlemen.
Phone call.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. What do we got?
Jack.
Yeah. What the hell are you talking about me for, East?
I'm
Okay, hello, phone caller.
Hello.
howdy.
hello.
This is Jack Neal. I'm calling in for the Jeff Sargent show.
Yeah, you got the right show.
Let me put you
You're on the air.
You're on the air.
Ironically, it is Jack, but it's not the
I'm
name.
Roy.
Weird.
This is Jimmy.
Okay,
I
Jeff.
don't
We were
know
just
it.
talking about Jack. Is that okay? Never mind. Ask Jeff a question. Talk to
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah, sure. No, I thought it was great. I shared your link on Facebook,
Oh,
and I had
Thank you.
called the other number. I'll do the other number. It just didn't work. So Noel, Jason Scott sent me the real one.
Oh, cool.
We got you. Got a new.
I multitask.
Okay, you got a new job here. You're our new intern. Sorry, we can't.
Hey, he's dressed
You
for
know,
the job.
I saw the sun rise this morning, and that never happened.
yeah,
You have to dress like this every
Okay,
morning.
please ask Jeff a question.
You've got Jeff East,
Yeah.
Noel Jason Scott, and Alex Wong. Alex is
Well,
sexting.
I'm just happy. I love the show. It's great. I love everything you guys are doing, and I'm just happy to see it on the YouTube live. And
Thank you, sir.
and everybody's talking about the train scene, and that's one I've always looked at. I've always seen that, and I've always tried to reproduce that in running.
Yeah, and it was worth doing it because so many people love that, and it took so long, and it was not easy to do, and I was sore every day, my shins, my thighs. I mean, Diane Sherry.
Wow.
Whoa.
Diane Sherry at the height of her
question is-
powers.
Yeah, my biggest question is when you're running alongside the train there,
Yeah.
how did they do that? That's like the biggest. It's so interesting.
Well,
the way it was even filmed, it looked
secret.
amazing.
They took a crane and put this bar with high tension Air Force wires and then they put me in a harness, and we went out to the airport there south of Calgary and just went out it was an abandoned airport, and we went on the runway there, and they would just practice. We practiced for days after day after day.
Wow.
with the special effects guys and the stunt guys, Vic Armstrong and Tucker, all these guys.
Holy crap, Vic
Armstrong, yeah. And
Vic doubled Indiana Jones. I interviewed him. Amazing guy. He broke every bone in his hand.
Correct. Yeah, he's an intense guy. Really intense. And Vic's trying to figure out a way to keep me from swinging. That was the main problem, was I swang too hard.
Wow.
And they'd pull me at 30 mile an hour, 35 mile an hour, then they'd tilt me at 10. And at around 20, I would not swing as much if there was no wind. And I was able to touch the ground just barely with the tips of my toes. If I could do that, I could control the swing. So
really,
and it took 2 weeks to figure that out.
Wow.
And then they had the camera basically following on the back of the crane, and you just see me running. Then they got an El Camino and put the camera in the back of an El Camino station wagon.
Right.
You know, the truck, El Camino. And that you can see Peter McDonald shooting me, and I'm literally on a like a camera harness, and I'm just literally tied to this El Camino, and you just see the upper part of my body. So,
wow.
Yeah, and there's photographs of that as well. I mean, that they really went all out trying different things, practicing stuff, and nobody's ever done it before. They've never done this before, and they've never.
No, and the filming the frame rate was so awesome too.
Yeah.
I thought the frame rate was really out of control. When I saw it in the theater, when it came out, I was really shocked, and I still, like I said, I told Noel, I know. I told him, I said, I always try to reproduce your football kick. I've always tried.
Well, that was fun, man, because I played football, and I loved kicking the ball. And when Donner says, get up there and let's see you kick the ball, I really kicked it pretty good. And they go, wow, man, that was pretty good. Then they got the cannon buried underneath the ground in the end zone.
Oh.
And there's a cannon down there with a cylinder. And then I go up there without a ball, and I just pretend like I'm kicking. I do the kicking, and this thing shoots this cannonball in the sky, and it's going, and it's going, and it's going, and it hits the sign, the Smallville sign on the grain elevator, and knocks it down.
Wow.
And they got it on film. And they didn't use it. They didn't use it. That was great. It had to be a quarter mile away.
Wow.
And it went through the football field into the air and knocked the goddamn sign down.
You could plan that.
Now, Jeff, did you say once, I believe from our article, did you have a friend who played in the Super Bowl and the coach showed them that before?
Yeah, Brad Buddy and Tony Munoz were really good friends of mine. Went to school with them. And the night before the Rose Bowl, they showed Superman. And they're like, hey, we got to get that guy on our team.
that must have been
Coach
such
Robinson.
a good feeling. I mean, even though you felt like you kicked
I felt
it,
like a stud. I was like, wow. Yeah. And then I had parties, and people would come and we'd party. And I even had Belushi at my house one night. It was crazy.
Did you ever sign any footballs? Did anybody ask you to sign a football?
No. Oh, OJ once asked me.
OJ said, hold this.
And the gloves.
And the gloves.
I did a show with OJ called First and 10. I played the Mormon quarterback.
Oh, wow.
And he was a coach and a co-producer of the show. And OJ was a little upset because he was not getting paid as much as me.
You don't want to make OJ upset.
Right. So he started telling everybody I was a racist.
Well, you made it out alive.
Whoa, wow, yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? These guys are my friends. And Henry Lawrence from the Raiders and these big black guys are like, you don't want them to know that you're a racist. OJ was a jackass.
Wow,
He was a jackass.
I remember a makeup girl telling me, a makeup girl who worked on Frogman.
Right.
And she said the way Nicole and the other guy were killed, she remembered the Frogman showing them how to cut throats like that.
He was trained how to use that knife.
Wow.
And he had one of those knives. He had purchased one of those knives.
Wow.
And I think they found one. I think something buried.
Not at his house.
Guilty.
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 What is the deal? Are they going to let him go to Florida?
I will tell you my OJ story.
He's going to break probation.
OJ showed up at a horror convention. No
way.
Right before he complained because they put him under an inflatable knife from Scream. It said Scream coming to DVD. And OJ made them move him. He wore big, huge sunglasses.
Oh, my God.
Put a photo up.
Yeah. He had huge sunglasses because he supposedly had pink eye.
Oh.
And to see OJ sitting under an inflatable knife.
Oh, I don't even feel sorry for him. And he drives around Vegas in a white Bronco.
Still?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, that is just
weird, isn't it?
That's as bad as Angeline.
Wow.
It's just weird.
That's too iconic.
But so he tried to get you fired and tried
He
to.
got me fired. They wrote me out of the show.
Wow.
They had I got traded or something. And I had a great time doing with Delta Burke and Reed Shelton, all these great actors and all the pro football players. I was on the show for 2 years. I had a ball. It was HBO's first real series. Yeah.
Wow.
And, you know, OJ and OJ did a bunch of shows after that. He was like a regular on there for 4 or 5 years. And we were making tons of money on residuals. He goes and kills his wife, cut the show.
Wow.
See ya, residuals.
God almighty.
Thanks, OJ.
Because the Naked Gun movies don't run as much either.
No, I love those.
Wow, yeah.
I loved, you said Delta Burke. I've always had the hots for her. I love her.
Oh, yeah, she's hot.
Yeah, she was dating.
In person, she's hot?
Oh, yeah. She wasn't as heavy then. She was,
real.
Yeah, I remember.
I love it.
Smoking.
Wow.
Smoking. And
Diane Sherry in a cheerleader costume smoking? Is she that hot?
The head of HBO at that time was dating her. So it kind of helped to get the part for her. And she was terrific in it. And later, I think, Daryl McCraney? Or
Gerald McCraney.
From Simon and Simon.
Right.
Actually, from 8 episodes of The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. He was a regular, he was not the same character, but he was always the abusive cop and this and that on Hulk.
Yeah, I liked working with Delta. It was fun.
Wow.
That's cool.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
I'm still on the line, but hey, I just wanted to.
listening.
We're thinking about Delta's boobs.
Yeah. Delta's boobs and OJ's knife.
Hey, how can you guys? Is there anything that we can support online for you guys? Your future projects?
Wow.
Okay.
Cool, man.
You want to go first?
Yeah. From Alex, Noel, and Jeff. We'll start with you, Jeff.
Let's do a chaotic golf tournament.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm for that.
Donkey basketball. Loser has to pick up the donkey flop.
Donkey dong.
So, Jeff, what do you have coming up for our mysterious car?
I've got a show I'm doing called Ransom's Law in the UK. I'm playing a CIA operative guy, and I've got a wife in France. I live in Nice, France, so I brought my production company there. And
what's it called?
It's called Big Bull Productions, and it's fun. I like being a producer. I like being on the other side. I like to do what Alex does, and you know, I don't have to worry about if I weigh 90 pounds or if I weigh 200 pounds. And I'm 60 now, and I'm not retired. I'm still working.
That's
as
a
an
great
actor.
60, yeah.
And I feel good, and I love France. I like the people over there.
So is Nice nice?
Oh, it's beautiful.
That's clever wordplay, Jeff.
It's a gorgeous.
How are the French fries over there?
Awesome. And they have barbecue over there, but it's not ribs, it's sardines. Yeah, and pigeon, that kind of stuff.
Laird.
It's kind of weird.
And is it escargot? Isn't that a delicacy over there?
Escargot, baby.
Is that like eating sushi over here?
Yeah,
like
just
being
they
cool.
have sushi over there. I mean, you're right on the coast there, and it's the French you can't beat the French food. And it used to be part of Italy. Nice is a very Italian influenced city, and the food is very Italian.
So the French are as snobby as some people
No.
say?
Oh, my God. You can't go to Paris. You got to get outside of Paris. You got to get to the south of France.
Okay.
They're the nicest people in the world.
Out of the tourist zone, right?
You got to get out of the tourist zone. You got to go into the interior and the Provence. People are dynamite. They're quiet. They're shy. I love the French, and I'm very happy I moved there.
And I'm interested in that movie Pumpkinhead. Do you think is that out on Netflix?
It's on everything. It was on Netflix as
Blu-ray too. It's a DVD and Blu-ray.
A Shot Factory, beautiful.
And it's the 30-year anniversary, 2018. I'm coming back to do a tour of that as well.
30-year anniversary of Pumpkinhead, 40-year for Superman.
Correct.
Wow.
30 years already?
Yeah.
40 years? Wow. Yeah.
30 years of Pumpkinhead.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know we were that old.
I'm
We are.
You're in Hollywood, everybody. Shave off 5 years. Wow. How about you, Noel? What do you got working on?
Well, right now I'm working on a movie called A Dead Dame in Hollywood, and I play Police Chief Redfern. It's a 1940s noir mystery comedy, and the script is hilarious.
Are you going to wear one of them cop mustaches?
No, actually, I look just like this.
Okay.
Except I got a nicer hat.
Because I say every movie I say, when you got a mustache like a cop, man. I don't like cops, man.
Okay, the funny thing is that when we worked together on House of Manson, that was a real mustache.
That was a real mustache that looked like a glue-on mustache. I'm just busting your chops. That was great. Yeah. You did a great job in that movie. You got to find Charlie.
Actually, there's a funny story. The reason I got to find Charlie is because of you. It's all your fault.
It's all my fault. You got all the...
Charlie Manson you're talking about?
Yeah. So these two idiots found Charles Manson in House of Manson.
So
sort of like House
I'm
of
wearing
Pancakes.
a cowboy hat. I'm a sheriff, and then he...
Hold on. I got this.
Okay.
So I got
You're
asked,
shouting over our guest.
I got asked to be a cop on this movie called House of Manson. It's a really good biopic. Wow.
Let's not go crazy.
Well, no,
it's
good.
Okay. You guys are good.
Well, anyways, this is one of the first films I ever worked on, and they ask us for our sizes and everything, and I give them my size, and I'm like, yeah, 36 pants, blah blah blah, and we get to set, and everybody's dishing out all their cop uniforms, and they're one pair of pants short, and this guy with a big giant belly named Jeff Sargent puts on, and he's like 6'4", and he's like puts on the pants that are supposed to be for me, and I'm like, those aren't gonna fit you, and he's like, sure they are, and he's like, whoop, and I'm like, oh, and I didn't have pants, and I'm looking at him, I was heartbroken. I was like, my first time on set, I'm like, oh no, there's no costume for me, and Teresa Parker, she's like, hey, you got black slacks, I'll make you a local cop, I'll give you a blue shirt. So in a sea of brown shirts, I'm the blue cop.
We stand out.
Yeah, I stood out like a sore thumb, and they said, "Wow, hey, you look just like the part." So we're going to give you the chance to catch Charlie.
Oh wow!
And I got a great scene.
You son of a bitch! They give this guy the shotgun, and he gets to find Charlie.
But was it true? Is that how they found Charlie Manson?
They found him in a cupboard. So when
in
we were
cupboard,
and he was hiding in a cupboard. It's like, no, don't shoot. But we improvised, and I caught him in a chicken shack, but.
Weird.
But, no, that was the first
out
time.
in the valley, right?
Yeah, it still worked. That was out in Palm Desert. It was the Barker Ranch.
Yeah.
I'm pimping this in my comic book page as we speak, boys.
But that was the moment I met Jeffrey, and we've been friends ever since. That was like almost 4 years ago.
They're doing Oliver Stone's doing. I think.
No.
Yeah, they are.
Tarantino
wants to do it.
I meant Tarantino. Sorry.
I played Officer Patrolman Purcell, and
that was the real cop that found.
Yeah. And the funny thing is,
wow.
that movie, the casting was pretty spot on. Everybody looked like the parts.
Cool.
If I would have shaved my stupid mustache, I would have actually looked just like the guy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you could do with some films with a low budget and and really make that 100,000 into $1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, Alex.
Don't mention those numbers because I'm gonna get a call from.
Okay. Hey. Okay. All right.
What's the average? What's the average budget these days?
Where can we find this House of Manson movie at?
Oh, sorry.
House of Manson. I believe it's available on Netflix and Amazon Prime.
Yeah, you could order it on Amazon and get your own DVD.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot. And,
send it to me, Jeff Sargent. I'll autograph it for you.
But I had a question for Alex. Yes. What's the average production cost for general like a horror film or a slasher?
It really depends. I mean,
drama.
Now these days, low budget means $20-30 million. Wow.
Good Lord.
Micro budget is $1 to $5 million.
Right.
Ours is way lower than that. We're talking about $100. $20 to $30.
$100 in a case of beer.
$20,000 to $30,000 basically to produce a movie, and it's a full-length feature.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of different. I mean, I used to shoot with a 16mm film when I was that really cost, but now with this technology getting what it is, I mean, I could just shoot everything, set in the computer, edit, put music. Everything's done. It could be done in one place.
And you don't have to worry about publicity or anything and all the posts, all that, because you're just streaming it right to the internet.
Well,
right?
no, I mean, that's where the marketing comes in. You really need, you couldn't make, doesn't matter what kind of movie you make or how much the budget is. If there's no marketing, if people don't know about it, that's where the issue is.
Yeah.
You're not going to,
You gotta sell
so, right. But our actors are really great, and they are really good at marketing themselves and mentioning the name.
Smart.
On Lilith, hold on.
So, Mark, I know distribution. When you get a distributor, Do they have the power? What kind of power do they have when they're distributing your film through all the stores, like every Walmart or every Target across the U.S.?
It all depends on the contract. It all depends which distributor. It's not uniform with every distributor. It's this distributor wants something else. This distributor wants something else. So it all depends, and you make deals. Yeah.
How much effect has, say, Amazon and Netflix and HBO Now has had on the movie industry, especially the horror movie industry?
You could see it on Amazon a lot because Amazon, anybody, if you have a decent movie, you could put it on. It's called Amazon Prime or Amazon Distribution. I sat down and watched a lot of those just to see how good or bad it is. Right. There's some decent ones, but there's some really, really bad ones.
Right.
And I don't think Amazon cares as long as they're making money.
Well, how? Okay, that's what I want to know, too. I'm curious how the money structure works today.
On Amazon, there's two ways to go. If let's say your film makes big festivals like Sundance and it's on top 10. If you put it on Amazon, then it's based on per view, how many minutes they're watching it. You're getting, I think if you're on one of those big festivals and you win, I think you get 50 cents per minute or 35 cents per minute that people watch.
Really?
If you're not, it's not your huge film and nobody knows about it, but people watching it, I think you get 15 cents per minute.
15 cents is the lower end.
Right, exactly.
And you're talking about they're paying with a credit card with their Prime account, and that film is registered with a certain number, correct?
Right.
And then they know, like SAG keeps track of all the residuals. Right. They're keeping track of the stream and the income.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Wow, yeah. So, but you have a choice. I'm just talking about Amazon. You have a choice. The producer of that movie could do it as a free streaming, which you get 15 cents per minute, or you could sell it as $10, $15, or $20, or you could rent it. So there's different choices as far as Amazon goes. Netflix, you make a deal. Netflix is the last resort you want to put in because everything is free. So where Amazon, as people watch it, you get paid. Netflix, you're a member, you could watch that same movie over and over again for that duration.
Just put in $24 billion.
Netflix actually, starting December 1st, increased the rate from, I was paying $4.99 a month. It's going to be $10.99 a month, December 1st.
Wow.
Well, they got
that's a big rate hike.
Huh.
But as you were mentioning,
how do you make money off it?
Yeah, how do you make money?
That's what I want to know.
How do we make money, Alex?
I want to make money.
If you put up 30 grand, you're going to want that 30 grand back sometime.
Right.
I don't know about you guys, but before you finish that sentence,
go ahead.
When Netflix started, my residuals got smaller on a lot of the stuff I did.
Me too. And I get nothing.
What's residual?
So with a $30,000 budget, and you go to Netflix, Alex, how do you get, like Jeff asked you, how do you get paid?
Unfortunately, I haven't had any deal with the Netflix. So far, it's been Amazon. The Lilith is looking good. I'm getting calls from other distributors.
Is there blood?
It's a lot of blood.
Is there tasteful nudity?
Yes.
Oh, then you're a producer.
Do you know actress Jenny Lynn? You need her in your movies.
We'll talk after.
I can give you her number.
On Lilith, we got Vernon Wells.
Road Warrior. Vernon is a low-budget producer himself. He produced Cowboys and Dinosaurs.
Yes. And we got Felissa Rose from
Sleepaway Camp.
Yes.
Oh.
We got Devaney Pinn.
Good.
She's in the House of Manson, Escape from Manslaughter. She's in this movie. I probably got.
So it helps having a name.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be a big name, but they've got work behind them on
IMDb.
Of course,
yes.
Like Felissa Rose and Vernon Wells would be the big names here because they've actually done,
Because I've had a lot of offers in the last year from a lot of the companies, and they just wanted me to sign a letter that I'll do the role, and immediately they put it on IMDb, and that's where they're getting their financing.
Wow.
Right.
And I'm not a big name anymore, but it's funny how they're
You have a cult following, though.
I do have a following, and so I think, I'm going to ask Alex this, if you have those people, and they go, oh, I saw her in, Friday the 13th, that helps you sell it. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's just a normal TVQ thing.
Right. I think that's what marketing is now these days. Before, I mean, they would spend $1 million on marketing. Now it's different. It's I hate to say this, it's all social media, and people who are watching your movies want to see who's in it. I mean,
right.
It's before too, but it's like Felissa Rose has big following. Vernon Wells has a big following, and when you mention those names, people, oh, you know what? I want to see it. Oh, it's a different role than he used to play, but I want to see it because you know what? And good thing about those, also Devaney Pinn, and he's in the movie too.
Yay, no.
Yes.
All right.
Playing another cop.
You're not playing the title role?
And Jennifer Nangle, she was here 2-3 weeks ago.
We love Jennifer Nangle.
She's in this movie too.
My Queen Malvolio.
Yes.
One of my favorite guests.
Hot as beautiful.
He wasn't here. We
saw her picture. No one will get fired putting her on there.
Right, and Charles Trabala. He's in there. Hunter Johnson, Tom Haley, great actors. These people are just great. And
how long a shoot was it for you, Alex?
You know what? I usually like to shoot weekends because I think everybody has other jobs, and so we like to shoot on weekends. Since it was horror anthology, I said, you know what? I'll shoot one a month. So it took 6 months to shoot this because there's 5 segments, but we had to skip a month.
Same director for every segment?
No.
Huh.
I direct everything and trying to make it look different on each segment.
You put a fake name for some of them? I mean, no, this is true. The Italians would do this. There was a guy named Ovidio Asantis.
Yeah.
And he would make rip-offs in American movies. For example, when The Exorcist came out, he made Beyond the Door.
Oh, I saw it.
I remember that one.
When Jaws came out, he made Tentacoli, which is the Italian title, but the American title was Tentacles.
Yeah.
Oh, saw that too.
Yeah, and what he would do is he put Oliver Hellman, and he would basically spend a little bit of money. In fact, Tentacles, one of the famous stories. You were talking about getting names. Tentacles hired Henry Fonda for 1 day's work.
Wow.
And Henry Fonda plays the evil head of the telephone company whose sonic cables have pissed off the squid and they're destroying everything. What he did is he told them 2 things. He goes, "You got me for 1 day, and since I don't want to be in any scenes with a giant octopus, you're going to shoot all my scenes at my house." What? So when you see the massive home, the head of the telephone company is in this amazing mansion. It's Henry Fonda's real mansion.
Wow.
And I guess one of the American crew told me, and he goes, and since you're shooting in my house, there won't be a scratch or a ding anywhere in my house. Or he had it built up. If they did any damage, he would get more money. And Gary Kurtz, who produced Star Wars, told me.
Yeah.
He told me, an amazing guy. Yeah. He told me one of the first movies he did was Queen of Blood.
Oh.
And he told me working for Roger Corman,
right?
They had Basil Rathbone,
wow,
and Florence Marley as the Queen of Blood, and I asked him, was it just bottom of the barrel? You know what I mean? And he told me Roger Corman showed him before the internet, before IMDb, you would have big books of actors,
right?
You know what I mean?
The Academy Players Directory,
exactly, the Academy Players Directory. Yep. And Roger Corman would go through it, just studying it.
Yeah.
And he would find Basil Rathbone.
Wow.
And they would get him. And I asked Gary Kurtz, why was he doing that? And he asked Corman. Corman said, even though these were going to be theatrical and everything at the time, he goes, years from now, because Corman's a huge film buff, years from now, I want someone watching the Late Late Show at 2 a.m. to say, there's a space movie with Basil Rathbone?
Oh,
and he liked it. He thought the casting would make it interesting.
Funny.
And
well,
so,
Corman literally got most of the guys from the 60s and 70s started.
Right.
You're talking Coppola,
right?
Jack Nicholson,
Ron Howard,
Ronnie Howard. What was that? Something.
Eat My Dust.
Eat My Dust.
And then followed by Grant. And by the way, when he did Eat My Dust, he went to Ron, and Ron Howard went to Corman and wanted to direct Eat My Dust.
Right.
He said no. Corman goes, You're going to star in this to show you can behave and work on a low budget.
Right.
And then you can direct the sequel, which was Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
But, as I said, I mean, these people have great following, great social media outlets, but you want to work with people who could act. Because essentially it's a movie.
Right.
People look at, watch the movie, and they don't go, oh, I know these people from this social media, Twitters, blah. They don't say that. The review goes, acting was good, acting was bad, hey, story was good. So you want to hire, you want to work with people who could act and perform in front of the camera. I mean,
I agree.
As I said, over the weekend, that was the final day of shoot. We worked with the Felissa Rose, Michael Wainwright, and Thomas Bailey. Haley. What did I say? Bailey. Oh, Haley. Sorry, hey, Tom, if you're listening. These people are great.
Be listening.
These people are great. These people are professional. They're on time. You know what? I put her in the makeup for 3 hours and drench with the blood. Not a single complaint. Right. They're like, we loved it. I'm like, great. And you want to go back and keep using them over and over.
Actors want to act.
Yeah.
They want to act. They want to work.
And I a lot of
you got to have a good story too.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
It all starts with the script, fellas.
Yes, and funny thing about Lilith on this one is we first came out with the first segment, and it was going to be a short film. That segment. Then we're like, this is coming out pretty good. Why don't we start writing the other ones on other segment? So each month we were doing different segment, but 2 to 3 weeks before that, the script was being written for that segment. So this the final spine one. We had idea, but we didn't write the final script until months before. So, but of course, on the day of shooting, things changed. But yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a story. Fatal Attraction was shot, and Sherry Lansing was the producer.
Right.
And Michael Douglas was, I think, co-producer or something like that. And Michael was good friends with Blaine Novak. And he got a call one day, Blaine, from Michael. He's saying, we're having an issue with my alarms going off. You hear the birds? He said, we're having an issue with the ending of the film. We're not sure if it's not testing right, the people aren't reacting to it. Can you do us a rewrite on the ending? So there's 2 endings that they filmed. And one, she dies, and the other one, she doesn't. Is that correct? I think
Yeah, she dies, but she frames Michael Douglas, who ends up going to jail.
Right, and that's the other alternative ending. There was another one where she didn't die.
You know who wrote the ending where she the bathtub and the bubble? Nicholas Meyer.
Oh, Nick Meyer. That's right.
Nick Meyer.
And I was going to say I worked with Nick Meyer on the day after.
I was about to say,
and
you're director of
I
writer.
worked both those guys, great writers, and it's that film. And you're right, he did write that.
Yeah, he
was a contract writer for Paramount.
And it knocked it out of the park. In fact, I heard that one of the heartbreaking things for him is because he did this fast and dirty fix. He tried to get credit, and they fought him.
They wouldn't give it to him.
Yeah.
And then Nick told me that story when we were doing the day after. We talked about it because he knew Blaine had worked with Michael on the other ending. And
actually, he told you that I think when you guys were hanging out because that was made 4 years after Day After.
No, you're right. I saw Nick at a Day After showing 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yes, you're right. You're correct.
No, but only because it's in his book, A View from the Bridge, where he talks about his...
We talked about it then. You're right. It was not what we were filming then. And
because when you shot the day after... No.
You're right.
You were there, for God's sake.
But I had a conversation with him about it, and I just didn't put it into perspective. But it was just 10 years ago.
I didn't want anyone... Trust me.
At KU, at Lawrence, and he came over. Him and Bob Papazian came, and they had a showing of the day after.
We have enough movie buffs listening to the show that some snot would try to correct us.
Right. And you know what? I'm not bullshitting. I had that conversation with him. But anyway, thank you for correcting me on that.
No. I wasn't correcting you. I wanted to keep you from being corrected by one of the smart asses who listens.
But the only reason I'm bringing it up is to Alex because he's a producer. And are you a director as well?
Yeah. I directed it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you direct all your films, right? Yeah. You're the director. You're the filmmaker.
Right.
So you're more a director than you are.
Well, you know who's the real producer of my movies? I mean, she won't say yes. It's my wife, Katie. I can't do
bookkeeper.
It. Right. Not just bookkeeper. Although I tell everyone and write check and go, do not cash until 2019 or 2020.
You're going to destroy the whole Christmas.
So, over the weekend, we give a check to one other person. And I was working in the other room, and my wife gave to him. And I told her, did you tell him not to cash it until 2019?
Oh, God.
She goes, just go back to your room. Go back to your set.
When he did the second segment, Katie doesn't mess around, though.
Is she Korean?
No, she's white. Yeah.
Well, she's kind of a redhead, isn't she?
Red, blonde, depends on
Does
the
she
mood.
act in any of your films?
She hates it. I think when I put her in the background, she loves it, I think, hopefully. Because on Lilith, she plays CSI guy. And did
you put her in a mustache to play
no,
CSI guy?
No. We put a CSI head, and she was a photographer. And the action, and her camera's supposed to flash, and it's not. And you could see in her eyes, she's sweating because it's not flashing. And she keep looking at me with the one corner of her eye. She's like, it's not flashing. What do I do? Cut. And before I said anything, as soon as I say cut, and she looks at me and goes, it's not my fault. It's the camera. I didn't say anything. We just reshoot real quick.
She takes her job so seriously. When Alex went over budget on one of the segments, she broke his thumb.
Yes.
Ow.
Yeah, see, it doesn't work well.
She said, next time we're going to take a hole in 29 Palms.
No, I like directing, so I direct mostly. But
plus, as a producer, you're the cheapest director you can find.
Yes. And and the cheapest director too, and the writer. Wow. But I work with the several writers. We work together, and I talk with my wife. Hey, we got 3-4 scripts. Which one do you like? She's smart. She's beautiful. So we always go over stories before we shoot anything, and we pick one before we start shooting. And I'm a quick one. You hear 1 year pre-production, 2 year pre-production. Yeah. Good thing about doing it yourself is I could have 4 scripts right here, and I could I'm pulling my hair. Which one do I want to do? And one day I go, you know what? This hit me. I could see it. 3 weeks later, I'm shooting. 4 weeks later, I'm shooting.
You're getting money you're getting investors for your films?
So far, not some, but last 2 movies I put in myself.
Excuse me, buddy. You are breaking the first rule of producing in Southern California.
Yes, I know, but
if they're getting done.
But you also want to hold on to your house.
Right.
He starts a project and he finishes it. He sees it through. And it isn't the problem with filming. The problem with filming is a lot of people start projects and they don't go anywhere because they put up obstacles. There's no obstacles with Alex. When Alex decides he's going to do something, he does it. I'm not just saying that. I'm in 5 of his movies. Okay.
No, I'm asking because I'm curious.
Noel plays Lilith.
And I'm just wondering because all this stuff is new for me because I come from the old school,
right?
From the 70s and from the 80s, from the 90s, and all of it changed in the 90s and in 2000. It just went crazy. The internet, all this Netflix stuff now, and I'm going, how do you do it? And I got investors looking at our scripts. I got these guys, but you're first one in and last one out. Right. Yeah. And it's like, well, how do we make money on this? How do we get it into a theater? How do we get to the Cannes Film Festival? How do we do all this stuff? Right. And it's a tricky deal, man.
Yeah, it's hard. Film festival. Some of them you put it in, they don't even watch it. Oh, thanks for submitting. Right. Thanks for your $80 or $100. But did you watch it? Yeah, I had to call one person and say, did you watch it?
Why does it take them? Why do you have to give them $100, $400 to look at your movie and put it in?
Here's the thing. I think one of the next project next year is I'm not putting my own money. They ask me to direct.
Do not get high on your own supply. Right. Do not kill your Manolo.
No, but here's the thing. I think you gotta prove yourself that you could do it. I mean, short films are great, but people who wants to hire me now for future films, I think we're gonna do a werewolf movie next. Cool. We're on planning.
But remember, keep your budgets low. I mean,
a
naked girl vampire.
Consider Jeff Sargent for a role because
he's
a good actor. Okay. This guy will tell you.
Let's not go overboard.
And Dan Rupp back here. I've been in movies.
Okay, got it.
Old films.
You got a cast.
Well, we need a clown.
7-Elevens in the valley.
But you gotta prove yourself. I think first 2. You know what? Yeah. Nobody's gonna give you money. First 2 movies. Right. Okay, so you got to prove yourself, hey, I could do this. I can make it work. And he's going to look damn good.
Consider making the werewolf a naked girl vampire because that will look good on a poster.
All right.
Werewolves are expensive, wall-to-wall hair, teeth. No, Stuart Gordon did a thing. Stuart Gordon said in The Hollywood Reporter, he did a big column, when your budget is on the line, he said, werewolves, much too expensive. You got the teeth, you got the claws, you got the hair. He goes, a naked female vampire will look good, but will play in every country in the world, you know?
Except China. You can't have naked.
You can make her a hopping ghost.
you get the sexy girl on the cover. You got.
Oh, trust me. We have a sexy girl in mind, and she's
fully clothed.
No.
She's wearing a turtleneck sweater and her grandma's dress.
Well, what's the deal with China? You can't have a lot of cuss words.
You can have cuss words, but I think a lot of foreign films that's coming in, you can't have nudity and you can't have ghost.
No ghosts.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Come
ghosts?
We were trying to
are okay, but not ghosts.
right. So we were trying to sell a movie called Prey in Cold Blood, which Nosy in it. He plays a great hunter. It's in Amazon Prime. Watch it.
Is there a monster in it?
Wait, we saw. Weren't you with me when we went to see it? Remember, Gabriel Lane?
Yeah, yes, he's
Gabriel?
in it. Gabriel's in it. Dari Kristen and Michael J. Kinney.
They were looking for the gold.
Yes.
The buried gold.
It's not a horror movie. It's more of an action thriller, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was done less than 20. Wow. Yeah.
Was
anyway.
it SAG ultra low budget?
Yeah, it's ultra low budget. But what was I saying? But I have no idea what I was going to.
The ghost. You can't have ghosts.
So, and one of the characters was actually two girls in that movie. Only two girls in that movie. They were naked, half naked. And I was at the
your money back. That's why 10,000 for each girl.
I was at the AFM trying to sell that, and we went to Chinese distributor, and she said, "Is there naked people in this?" Yes. No, we can't take it.
Oh wow.
So I said, I could black it out.
What I love now, the thing, if you watch UHF channels now, like Me TV and Comet TV, in fact, they showed Pumpkinhead on Halloween on Comet TV.
Yeah.
And they've got this great new effect where usually you'd have a jarring cut when they had nudity in the movie or gore. They usually, if you watch Sci-Fi Channel, they have a hang-up with the nudity, but they'll run the gore uncut. Right. But what they do now is, I was watching Without Warning and then Pumpkinhead. You'll have skinny dipping by the leg, and they'll just blur out the nipples.
Yes.
And you can keep the whole scene intact.
Yeah. No, it's a blur. It's out of focus.
Yeah,
out of focus blur. Yeah, in that area.
She just has
not a bad idea.
Yeah, because it keeps the whole shot.
So that they can play it on TV.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
But you have there's nudity, but they're blurring it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It drove me crazy.
It's not like French cinema.
No.
No need to cut it out.
Yeah, no. I mean, my movies seem to have nudity and violence.
You like to have your money back, that's why.
Yeah.
Will they allow you back into Korea?
I don't think so.
Oh, my.
Actually, on last movie, Lilith, one of the segments is called Lust, and we're shooting, and I'm standing in a room, and my wife leans over and goes, "We're not making porn, are we?"
Yeah.
Did you say, do you want to keep the house, honey?
I said, no, but this is how we need to shoot. Look, it will all cut in the editing room, and it will work. But
it bothered the crew that you were directing and working the camera with one hand.
Yeah. My wife's standing there. No. Yeah.
But
I heard you signed a 3-show.
Can I say this? If it's a good written script and you got a director, you don't necessarily need nudity for it to be erotic.
It's erotic. True.
Because we in Blue Champagne, we actually did a scene where the guy's lover comes over and they just
that was Jack Nicholson's daughter?
Daughter, and they take sheets and put them in the freezer. And the idea is that you get the sheets and you get in them and your nipples pop.
Wow.
You never see a nipple.
That's really smart.
But the idea of it, and this is Blaine Novak's genius, it makes you excited. It's erotic. And it's like, you don't need the nudity. You just recommend it, or you illustrate that it could possibly, your imagination works better. It's like reading a book.
Yeah.
A teenage audience, teenage male, 16 to...
No, there's no nudity.
Right.
At Fangoria, when I was covering stuff for Fangoria, you would get to the set, and if the guy putting his own money in it said, there's no nudity and no bloodshed, we're going to do this old school. 9 times out of 10, it either went directly to video or never came out at all.
Isn't that weird?
It's like, but no, it wasn't weird because they were committing suicide, and my tape recorder is rolling while they're telling me they're cutting everything that would sell the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a weird business.
Certain thing hasn't changed. I don't think. Blood always. There's a certain. what I learned, I never really directed horror films before. It was thriller. I'm always into Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars,
which is quasi. But what's weird about Raiders and makes it different than most movies is there are segments that are adventure, segments that are romance.
Right.
The last 20 minutes, you can't convince me that the last 20 minutes of Raiders are not a horror movie with all the melting Nazis.
Yeah, melting.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was.
But what I noticed is that the horror community is small compared to compared to Hollywood, every genre. But that within that small horror community, they're all loyal to their characters, actors. Everybody knows each other. The actors
Put somebody
and crew.
in there to get a Sid Haig
Oh
in there.
my,
and
yeah.
will love you forever.
And they welcome you. I never done horror movie. I never been to horror convention until last 2 years. Met Noel, Hunter, Felissa, all the other people.
Felissa has such a following too.
Yes.
I mean, people love her. I've been to conventions where they bowed before her.
I mean, she has nice. We got, what was that
time.
character? Is it Angela? Was it?
And Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, we got kid dressed up as Angela, and this was great. But they welcome you. It's like, oh, you're directing horror movies. You're starting to do this. They want to talk to you. They want to, make sure you could do this. And they go, hey, you've done this before. Can you help me? A lot of times in different genre, they go, I don't want to give my secret away. But here, hey, try do this, edit it this way. They all help each other. If somebody calls me and say, hey, can you help me? Hold the mic. I'll go there and hold the mic. It's all vice versa.
Well, it's funny. I was lucky enough to work with Wes Craven on 2 films.
Wow. Oh, that's right. You're in Deadly Blessing.
Deadly Blessing was my second one that I did with Maren Jensen and Susan Buckner.
Someone's in the house as well, right?
And Sharon Stone's first movie.
Oh, that's right. Susan Buckner, the shots of you in the article.
Yeah.
Susan Buckner, I don't know how Wes Craven got her to wear that dress.
She was awesome.
Wow.
And she was a doll, and loved working with her. I love all the girls. Sharon and I became good friends from that. I told her to go to acting class. That's basically what I told her to do. And, and I like Sharon, and she got some acting lessons. But Wes Craven did a film called Stranger in Our House, and he just done... What's the film he did? Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yes, but Stranger in the House was with Linda Blair.
With Linda Blair. Yeah. I play her brother.
It was one of the legendary... It was based on a book, I think, by Lois Duncan.
Summer of Fear.
Right. I think it was Lois Duncan who wrote a couple things.
And Glenn Bennis wrote the script. And Matt... oh, my God, what's Matthew's friend? Anyway, it was cool to work with Wes because Wes was just a normal... everyday
English
guy, just a normal, just like a buddy in your school, and he was an editor. He knew how to edit. Wow. And that was what makes a horror film, in my opinion, is the editing.
Noel has to leave the party.
Oh, thank you, Noel.
Namaste, Noel. Thank you for coming.
Any plugs before you take off?
Any plugs before you leave, good sir?
No, I don't have any. I'm bald. Keep an eye out for a Dead Dame in Hollywood. And I actually have another movie that I'm just got completed and starting to win awards. It's called The Bloodsucker Jones versus The Creeping Death. And guess what?
Bloodsucker Jones.
You play Bloodsucker Jones?
No, I play a couple of the Creeping Deaths.
Okay.
But I got to do my own makeup. They have it's hilarious comedy, and it's making the circuit right now. It should be released soon.
Who plays Bloodsucker?
I don't put me on the spot.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm going to check your IMDb.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm totally drawing blank. I'm so sorry.
And watch The Burning Dead on a sci-fi channel near you with Noel in it. Yeah. And possibly me and Jenny Lynn.
And the beautiful Jenny Lynn and the Kowalski.
To bring when you mentioned House of Manson, Noel, this will bring it all full circle. The park we were shooting Burning Dead in Silmar. Yeah. Is where Charlie recruited the girls in real life. It's also where they shot the ending of White Heat with the train.
Huh.
Yeah. And you were talking about product placement or putting a person in the movie. That movie had Danny Trejo in it, and we didn't get to meet him. Wow. But my first film, I got to be in a movie with Danny Trejo.
That's what we were talking about distribution. When you get that one name in there, and he was willing to even put Tom Downey in front of him, even though he filmed his separate from everybody.
No, but remember, because they brought him in at the ending, so he would get the Danny Trejo as Nightwolf credit.
Right. Yeah.
What would happen is when you got a bigger name, like when you watch Superman the movie, I interviewed Jackie Cooper.
Yeah.
And the original choice for Perry Wayne had a stroke at Heathrow Airport.
Correct.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
It was, help me, you know, that wonderful character actor. What's his name? He's in Piranha. Anyway, he said, Jackie Cooper said he got a phone call from England from Dick Donner.
Yep.
And Dick Donner.
They were friends. They were friends.
He goes, if you have a passport, you're in Superman the movie. You got to get your ass out to England. No, thank you so much. It was an honor, sir.
Nice to meet you.
It was also an honor to disembowel Jenny Lynn with you.
Yep.
Jenny Lynn.
Jenny Lynn is a Hawaiian Tropic model who is incredibly
I know who
straight.
she is.
Oh,
I know her. I actually know
you
her.
do?
Yeah.
I pulled her intestines out.
It's all yours, Alex.
Thank you very much.
Jeff,
Thank you.
you worked with her?
I worked with her, a whole group of the Hawaiian Tropic Girls. We're up in Sun Valley, Idaho, and David Soul and I were doing a movie called Swan Song. And
What, playing the musician?
downhill skier, and we were both downhill skiers. And so Ron Rice brought out all the Hawaiian Tropic Girls because it was sponsored by Hawaiian Tropics.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Oh, Jenny was one.
And I was single. Oh, my. Oh, my. Oh, my. Give me that coconut oil, baby.
Did they know you were in Pumpkinhead?
Hell, no, this was before Pumpkinhead.
Wow.
This was right after Superman. This was 79. Wow. And I was in Sun Valley, and I was getting ready to do Klondike Fever with Angie Dickinson and Steiger. Yeah, and that's another hot babe. Ooh.
I got stories about her, but that's another time.
But the Hawaiian Tropic Girls were great. They were so friendly. And, you know, and you want to be professional and not be a jerk off. I was always really nice. I never...
You don't want to be Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, and no Weinstein with me. But,
Yeah.
But it was fun. But Ron Rice surrounded himself with the most beautiful women. And he's got it owned the Hawaiian Tropic.
Wow, that's right. Because one of his Hawaiian Tropic wives left him right after having his baby for John Todd Van Damme.
She was gone.
That was amazing to me.
That happened right around this time.
Wow.
It was weird.
That's amazing. You just had a baby with this guy and ran off with a kickboxer.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
And Ron's a great guy. Really nice man and just kind of different, you know.
Well, I admire the man.
Oh, yeah. Hawaiian Tropics events are fun. A lot of fun.
Wow. Now, Jeff, talk about Up the Creek. Where did you shoot that? How long did it take?
Oh, man.
It's such a goofy, weird movie. And you have a classic TV director doing it.
That was, Bob Butler.
Who directed the pilot for Star Trek and Batman.
Right. And he also did Used Cars with Kurt Russell.
Right.
Oh, God, I remember that
for
one.
Bob Zemeckis, yeah.
Yeah, Robert Zemeckis wrote that. Wow. And Bob brought us up there, and Tim and I, we all basically got hired for whatever reason. Basically it was an ensemble cast, so they wanted to cast it ensemble. So it was Steven and me and Sandy Helberg and Tim Matson. We all came into the readings all together. And then they would split us up and put us in little teams, little groups.
And the adorable, underrated Jennifer
Runyon. But you know who was originally cast in that role was Kelly Preston. And Kelly Preston showed up for work, rehearsed for like 2 days, and I think Timmy was already doing her, you know, within the second day of doing it. And I was married, so I didn't touch anything.
Once you made it with Johnny Quest.
Right. And Tim was like all over that.
Oh, wow.
And so all of a sudden, Kelly leaves, and she's got another job. She took a series down in Columbia, so she's not going to do the film. In comes Jennifer Runyon, who's the sweetest girl in the world, and beautiful girl. And
she's in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
People forget that. And Carnosaur. I think she's married to Corman's son, right? Roger Corman's son.
Right. Talk about Roger Corman. She's got plenty of stories.
Wow.
But Jenny came up there and got through it, and she was terrific. And Tim and I had a ball. And what we were was in Bend, Oregon. And
you shot that in Bend?
Yeah. And it's the Deschutes River. And we had to go up there for 3 weeks to learn how to raft.
Over in Skagit Valley.
Because I had to captain the boat, and so did Tim.
Wow.
So we had to train how to do it. I'd never done it before. And get up there, and it's cold as fuck. I mean, it's fucking nuts. And Tim's like, "You never done this before?" I said, "No, I've never done this before." Because I did it last year. It was a blast. He goes, "You'll be fine." And they had these stunt guys and they had the raft guys train us how to do it. So by the time we were shooting it, I knew what I was doing. And it's great. Kind of scary, though. It's dangerous.
Did you ever fall out of the boat?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And then you got to wear a wetsuit or you will die of exposure.
Oh, seriously?
Oh,
what months was it when you were shooting?
April.
Oh yeah, it's
April
cold up there.
and May.
Oh, that's still
And the
cold.
day shoots is cold, baby, because Mount Bachelor's right there where the U.S. ski team trains. Wow. So we had all the Olympic guys. They're in the movie. They played all the extras.
Really?
Yeah, we had all these Olympic athletes up there. It was hilarious.
Now, Robin Zander, I heard Robin Zander on Jonesy's Jukebox.
Yeah.
He announced they will play any song you want to hear, but if you ask for Up the Creek, they will flip you off.
That's Cheap Trick that
yes,
did that.
I'm up the creek.
Yeah. And, but we had fun. The movie didn't do all that great, but it's a cult classic. People like the movie.
You were produced by the legendary B-movie filmmaker
Sam
Arkoff.
And his son was our line producer.
By the way, the son of the line producer went on. He did a lot of stuff for Tarantino after that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he's done a lot. He's done a lot of legal stuff.
Louis Arkoff works for Tarantino.
Louis worked for Tarantino.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Louis is. In fact, here's a fun fact: Louis gets a special thanks credit in the ending credits of Pulp Fiction.
Oh.
No way.
Oh yeah.
I gotta watch that again.
Watch the very end of the
I
credits.
love Louis. Louis actually was fun because he'd go out to the set and he'd want you to be in character all the time. He goes, "You're just an asshole. You're just a blonde asshole."
One of the Bleach boys.
Oh, yeah. I love Lou.
So Jeff, I have a question.
Yeah.
You were talking about character. Do you? Do you study it? Do you review your character? Do you come up with a backstory, or you just go there and go, "Okay, I know my character. Bam, go action," and you just do it?
I'm not a method actor.
Okay.
I'm not a method actor, but I kind of like to feel the role.
Right.
I like to get into character. I'll wear if I was a preppy, I'm wearing a preppy outfit. I'm thinking that way. My mind's thinking that way. I went to acting class. I studied with.
Who'd you study with?
I studied with Lee Strasberg Studio and Stella Adler.
Were you with Joanne? Did Joanne train you?
Yes.
Wow, I love her.
Yeah, and I was with Stella Adler for her summer program.
Joanne Linville.
Yeah, and Jack Coslin, who was Clint Eastwood's teacher. Wow. Then I did start doing some Broadway stuff, and I was doing stuff in New York and in London, and I really prefer the theater, honestly.
Really, that's a scary thing to me. I mean, because it's a
it.
one-shot deal. You can't screw up. You're on stage.
Much rather do that
in front of all these people.
It's the best feeling in the world,
It is.
man.
Really?
Because you got instant
great.
gratification right there and then.
And if you fall and you fail, so what? You get up and you just do it again, and you got that audience reaction. It's fantastic.
Jeff, what's your key? I've talked to other actors and their methods. What's your key for memorizing dialogue? Everyone has a different method.
If it depends on who the writer is. If it's David Mamet, you literally have to know what the A's and uhs and the and this. If you don't, Mamet's all over your ass. Wow. Yeah, and so it depends. If you got a director like an Altman, a little improv's not going to hurt you. But I try to stay to script. The writer wrote it, and there's a way that he wants a rhythm, and the director's usually the writer, and you don't want to piss them off, and you want to play the role, and you got to read the way the rhythm, and go through. If you work with the other actors, if it's not working, you cut out that word, or you cut out that line, you cut out that sentence. But I don't really. I respect the writer, so I stick to the script.
Wow.
And but as far as getting in, I played Joseph in Mary and Joseph.
Yeah, but that's a famous. That was a famous. I think you shot that in Israel, right?
Yeah. And that's when I started kind of going, okay, I want to read about
Linda Pearl played Mary in that, right?
Yeah, Blanche Baker played Mary.
Wow.
Carol Baker's daughter.
Wow.
And Colleen Dewhurst is in that, and a lot of really good actors. And I thought, I'm going to start working my craft. And so I started reading the source, and I started reading books about biblical characters. Well, there's not a lot about Joseph. There's not that much written about him. And so I kind of had to come up with my own ideas. And my thing was, he's from a royal family, a royal Jewish family from Egypt. So I thought, okay, he's going to have a certain posture, and he's going to stand a certain way and speak a certain way because he comes from a family of influence in Egypt and then became a carpenter, and he's older, so he's a little bit more dominant over Mary. So those are the kind of things I worked with. The director, Eric Till, was, he was a soft, cozy kind of guy, but he wasn't a Richard Donner. And that film, it was hard to do, but when you're in Israel, you feel the role, man. They put your outfit on, and you feel like you're in the Bible. You feel like you're in Israel when Jesus was born. And so it all depends on your environment, and then the environment helps a lot.
Let me ask you then about the environment in Superman the movie. Because you don't play him heroic, you play him insecure. Talk about that, because that's a great performance.
An insecure Clark.
Yeah. Well, Donner said that's what I want. I want a guy that knows he's got some abilities, but he can't show them off. And he's disciplined by his father. And he can't, and it's frustrating because he has this ability and everybody picks on him. And I try to work with the angle of the bully picking on the guy. And I think the audience really reacted to that. I think I get a lot of fan mail from people saying, I was picked on and I understand, you know. The anti-bully movement is really a cool thing. I get a lot of stuff from that film. Wow. Because of the way they picked on him.
Because you're trying to hit on Diane, but the bully pushes over the footballs.
But it makes them happy when they see when I kick the football clear out of the friggin' net. You know, it just makes people feel good. It's one of those type of things. You go see a movie, and John Wayne, you know, does this and that, and you're cheering for him. You're cheering for that character. And it's fun to bring that type of character to life on screen. You bring that story to the people because they can relate to it.
There's a scene when, I mean, you kick the ball, then, you know, it's cut to the, you know, the girls and the other bullies riding that convertible, and you're standing by the mailbox.
That's so charming.
Yeah, he goes, Clark? He goes, I told you it was weird or whatever. And he goes,
I told you it was weird.
That guy's a weird. How'd you get her so fast?
Right, and you know, the clan shows up. Hey, you're showing off, bit of a showing off, you know.
You, the father's coming to basically keep you in check.
Right. Yeah. It's a great scene, and you know, you talk about bullying and stuff. You know, yeah.
Well, and the thing is, Donner says you're going to be excited that you're showing off,
right?
But your dad caught you,
right? Right.
And I all I had to do, it was in my walk. It was in. I was like, oh shit, man, I'm gonna get it now, man. 40
that scene of you walking up for the mailbox is so great. I mean, where he puts his hand on your shoulder.
Yep. And I was scared to death. And I really, truly, and we did it in one take.
Wow.
It was wild.
But then
Glenn Ford was great, man.
Until you mentioned that, I didn't realize you only had one scene with Glenn Ford.
That's it.
That blows my mind.
Yeah.
I mean,
see, I don't understand. I mean, Kubrick does this a lot. You know, the 250 take, you know, 5,000 takes.
It's a lot of film.
Yeah.
That's a lot of celluloid back in those days.
Did one take on a crucial scene for the movie.
Yeah. I try to, like, unless there's a technical issue, I think 3 or 4 takes the most. You know, I usually take 3, then I go, okay, safety, let's just do another one with the same intensity you did on last take. But I don't want to go more than that. After that, it's just...
But you said you hire actors that know how to act.
Right, I mean...
If you do that, things like that happen.
Yes, yes. I mean, all the people that I work with, you know, they know their craft. You know, that's why I love working with them.
That's why Glenn Ford and Phyllis Thaxter, they walked out and they were ready to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know?
No, Jeff. I heard in the Mankiewicz script, there's a scene where you're reaping the field. Did they ever shoot that or no?
No.
Okay. Wow.
Never was shot. It would have been great though.
He's doing.
And I was trying to figure out how they were going to do it.
Jeff is cutting the crops at super speed.
Right.
Yeah. I have no idea how you were going to shoot that in 1978.
Unless there's second unit footage of it, I did not do any of that stuff.
Wow.
Okay, guys, this is the part of my job that
I
hate the most. We could run till noon, but guess who gets his ass chewed?
Always.
Producer Dan.
Yes.
I'm cool with that.
Double D.
We're cool with that because I think I'm glad you're the punching bag for all of us.
Since we have 2 producers, one of them being Superman, I'm going to have to ask our humble guests, pimp it for us. Boys, what do you have coming up, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
I got a film called Terminal, which is going to be a web series. It's not going to be released as a film. I think on Amazon Prime. And
Here we
Amazon
go again.
Prime.
Yes.
And there's this Ransom's Law, which I'm doing in the UK. Not sure when that's going to be released.
That's who you played the CIA spook?
CIA guy.
Okay,
yeah.
you are.
And
also like an overcoat.
And it's good. It's well written. I read all the scripts. I've not started shooting yet. I'm supposed to start spring of 2018. I've got the 40-year reunion of Superman.
Bravo, and 30-year Pumpkinhead.
And 30-year Pumpkinhead. I've got a busy year of doing Comic Cons all over the world.
Are you going to do San Diego?
I'm going to do San Diego.
God bless you,
and I'm
sir.
doing Metropolis.
Could you sneak me in the back door or something?
Yeah,
because
come down to San Diego.
Jeff,
we'll do a
because
showdown
I
there.
have problems. I haven't been since I was a dealer there in the 90s.
Yeah.
He was dealing weed and they kicked him out.
Oh, he's got stories. He's got stories about me at Comic-Con, but I haven't been. I would love to go, and I can't.
You can be my guest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
And I'm honest. Honestly, we'll do the radio show from down there.
Okay.
Alex, pimp your stuff.
All right, right now, Cold-Blooded.
Faster.
Okay, it's in post-production.
For God's sake.
Look for Lilith,
No
the horror anthology. and werewolf movie next 2018.
If you need a 6'9" guy who can run up fast on all fours, it's SAG, and
I'll give you a call.
Hey,
thank you, sir.
You got to use me and my mustache in your movie.
I'll give you a call.
Okay.
I need a lot of victims.
Hey, by the way, 1 minute to go. Websites. What website can we reach you, Jeffrey East?
Jeff East Actor on Facebook. I haven't got my jeffeast.com yet, but I think somebody in Japan stole that one.
Alex T. Huang.
Okay,
Facebook,
Alex T. Huang, HWANG, and Lilith, the movie on Facebook, and on Twitter, Instagram, Alex T. Huang. Look for that and you'll find me.
On behalf of the Jeffrey Sargent Show, thank you,
It's the
Alex T.
Jeff-
Huang.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Dan the Man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, boy.
And if you ever need an average-looking, middle-aged white man, I'm always here.
Oh, and a plug for our sponsor. Our sponsor. Pacific Wine Merchants and Cigar Exchange, downtown Upland, right at the Metrolink. Come down for a fine Patron cigar, a craft beer, and the finest wines. Pacific Wine Merchants in downtown Upland.
Yes, and also Dr. Strange Records.
Dr. Strange Records.
Tonight in Altaloma on Amethyst.
All right.
The punk rock band, the Gonads.
The Gonads will be playing.
No, they will be on the couch, and you get to sit and talk with them, and you get their
You can sit and talk with the Gonads. All right. Thank you. Tomorrow.
Thank you, Dan the Man Rob. Thank you, boys.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Wow. Hey, Jeff and Alex, thank you guys very much.
You're welcome.
What a kick-ass show it was.
Do you see how much energy there is once we have guests in the booth?
Sure.
And Jeff, you were a great fucking interview partner.
Well, thank you, man.
But this is my second interview.
You too.
We hate doing
It's
shows
fun.
alone.
Producer,
All we do is
it's like,
beat each
wow.
other up.
Let me use the restroom.
Yes.
We gotta do a
Hey,
group
hey,
shot.
Alex,
Jeff.
Alex.
Yeah, let me use the
Wash
restroom.
your hands.
We gotta take a
Group
shot.
And I
Hey,
got
you
to
gotta sign some of these, motherfucker. Thank you.
Let's get down. We're gonna take it. We gotta do it against this wall because I gotta do the magic, the selfie.
Okay.
All right, with the cat, I get the front. And we, cool. This is part of our tradition.
You know what else you're signing?
Oh man.
That was fun, man.
No, Jeff, it was a blast.
It's
Thank
like
you so much.
2 hours goes by quick, man.
Okay. Oh,
And we
my
just
God.
getting started. You know?
Wow, that's